Welcome to the Fly Podcast. 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 Welcome to the Fly Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Frontline Youth Podcast. I'm here with my co-host Elijah Tijero.
Just like that.
And I'm Isaiah Tijero. I realize we don't ever introduce ourselves on these podcasts. You're just supposed to know who we are. We don't. We've said it in like the first episode.
Yeah.
We don't say it every episode.
Is it in the title?
No. It's not anywhere. So that's who we are, y'all.
They know.
Who's they? What if they
the
don't
listeners?
know?
You guys know.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back with another episode. Let's just get into it. Oh, actually, we have a new addition.
Oh,
to the podcast.
What? We got a soundboard.
I know. That's pretty crazy. So, yeah. That's it. We did some stupid sound effects.
I'm struggling not to hit like all of them right now. Yeah, there.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. We've made our presence known. We have a soundboard now. So, yeah, upgrades.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, definitely welcome back. Glad y'all are listening.
Let's get it.
It's the best thing you could be doing right now.
I know. Well, other than whatever else you're doing. Hopefully, you're probably not just sitting there listening. But if you are, hey, bro, you an in-depth listener. We appreciate that, too.
A critical thinker.
Oh, maybe don't think too critically about this podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's true. If you're driving right now, though, don't drive with your eyes closed. Please drive safe. Keep your hands on 10 and 2. If you're cleaning right now, clean faster.
I don't think it's 10 and 2 anymore.
Oh, keep your hands on 12 and 6.
No. I think it's 6 and 8. No. I think it's 5 and 8.
I was like, 6 and 8.
Bottom.
Yeah.
The bottom. That's where I drive. 5 and 8.
He don't drive safe, yo.
I do drive safe. All right, let's get into this episode.
He drives. Yeah, we got a button for everything. I think there's some people who will not get that. This one,
the dangerous.
If you guys are real podcast listeners,
you know the dangerous.
Yeah,
that's on episode 2.
Hey, and if you don't get it and you're thinking, oh, am I not a real podcast? Go back and listen to the other ones.
Yeah, get in the loop.
You're missing out a little
Treacherous, perilous.
Yes.
Dangerous. Right,
Finicky.
I'm done with that. Dangerous.
All right, that's enough.
Go ahead, Elijah. Let's intro this topic that we're going to talk about.
Okay, so the first topic we must speak about, is a popular question in both inside the church and outside the church, I think. And it's got some
it's got some
oh my gosh.
Sorry, y'all.
It's got a complicated answer.
Yeah.
And so the question is, and we can build around it. It doesn't have to literally be this question, but can you be a lone wolf Christian, a solo Christian? You do not go to a church, right? You don't got a big group of people. Mm-hmm. You don't have events. You it's just you and God.
Solo dolo,
right?
With the Lord. Can you do that?
Yeah. And we'll probably have to what's the word? Narrow down the question a little bit, but give your initial. What are your thoughts?
I will say that you can definitely live for God, be saved, and make it to heaven without ever being in a church.
Right.
That is a fact. If I'm going to somebody's deathbed or something or a hospital, and I say, you want to pray a sinner's prayer, be like, oh dang, we got to take a trip to the church first. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
If there is a nuclear apocalypse and you were the last 5 people alive and the other 4 people don't believe in God, are you going to hell?
Nah. Right.
You can, definitely you can build a relationship with God on your own.
However, it would be very difficult. Very
I almost
difficult.
hit the button, man.
No, but it would be hard. I don't think you could do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Not that I don't think you can, but you don't have to. So why?
Yeah.
And
it is a very difficult thing. The Bible talks a lot about like not leaning on your own understanding, and that's because you're leaning on what God says, right? But maybe different people might have read a different thing in the Bible or interpret it a little differently in a way that you never would. And so it's possible for you, if you're like all by yourself, maybe you're just getting into it and you read like something crazy out the Bible.
Yeah.
And then, like, for example, I have a good example. One of the verses in the Bible says that Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Right. And I've seen people take that. There's no discussion, but they build their own platform. Specifically, Instagram is where I've seen it. And a guy will be like, man, why are they baptizing folks in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? It should only be the Son. If you saying the Father and the Holy Spirit, you're a spawn of the devil. Literally, I'm not joking. Literally has said that. And
That's
it's
goofy.
like, it's missing the entire point of the gospel. There's nothing personal about it. It's just the semantic difference.
Someone's own interpretation.
Right.
Especially since there's a verse that said, baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And so, but without, some peers maybe to discuss these things with, or to just not even, you don't need to bring it up in a conversation, but maybe you're hearing a sermon and you're like, I never thought about that. Mm-hmm. You don't have to walk up to somebody and be like, hey, so what do you think about Mark 3? Like, you can, you can hear something, just it's brought up around you because there's people around you talking about this kind of thing, and then you think about it in a new way, and it'll keep you from getting into like a rabbit hole of theology.
Yeah. Preach that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
But question.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do you think people choose to be solo dolo anyway? Is it circumstance, or is there like an active decision?
In my experience, it's typically not circumstance.
Okay.
But I can see where circumstance can be a very reasonable reason, huh?
Yeah.
I need a better word. Oh my gosh, a very reasonable reason.
Hello, Brownie.
Hold on, I'm gonna let the dog in.
Let that dog in.
Stop it.
Sorry. It's just me and you guys, listeners. Oh, never mind. He's back.
I'm back. What did he say?
I didn't say anything.
We need a boo button.
Boo. No, we don't need that.
Anyway, so circumstances like maybe you are a minor and you don't have a choice of where you live or where you go, really.
Right.
Then it's like you've got to.
Or a whip.
Right. You've got to make a way without a church that you go to. Maybe there's people that you can talk to still, but what if you have no way of getting to a church and you ain't got no phone, so you can't talk to nobody unless they live in your neighborhood, but mostly in my experience, I've seen it where people will get like mad at somebody in the church. Let's say they have an argument or something, or I don't know, they'll hear somebody say something that puts them off, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm not showing up there." Or, and I wanted to mention this last because I don't want you, the listeners, to put this on everybody who tries to take the solo route. But some people, it's because they are not living right, and it's like people in the circles that they might have been in the church will keep them accountable to that. And so it's like, I just need some time to figure it out between me and God, smoke weed and just read the Bible and and it's like there's nobody looking at you if you're by yourself, and you can just put out the Instagram post that says, "Oh, God bless everyone," and then
you're not living for it like that.
Yeah.
Or I think even like in episode 2 we mentioned, it might have been episode 2, where we mentioned like the idea of like you kind of formulate your own beliefs, and sometimes it's a bad idea.
Dangerous.
Yes, precisely. It's dangerous.
Yes.
So then you go off on your own, thinking, something crazy. And, in a church setting, a lot of people will be around to help you line up what you're supposed to be thinking.
Right.
To, align what your ideas are with what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people will purposely avoid that setting so that they can have their own little mindset about whatever, misconstrue and whatever.
Yeah. Like there might be, you believe everything, most things that are going on in your church, most things that they're saying, that they're preaching, but you got a thing about drinking. And if you bring up the Jesus turned water into wine argument, your church is going to look at you like, bruh.
Right.
But nobody at home is going to say that to you because, I don't know, they don't read the Bible or whatever. They're not Christians. Right. So if you stay home, you could be like, yeah, guys, the Lord, and be just getting turned.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's going to bother you about it.
Yeah. So, it's important to be in the church, I guess for that kind of perspective, different perspectives. Also, everyone comes from like a different background and, different experiences, and they can share that with you in a church setting. Well, kind of.
What do you mean?
Okay, hold on now. I really feel as though sometimes,
close your ears.
People in church can all kind of act the same. Right? A little bit.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And we do need to touch on that.
Sorry.
Why? Y'all, I know I'm not explaining to you what he's doing, but be glad.
Exactly. You guys are being spared. All right. So
anyway.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I do understand what you're saying, because in any setting of people, right, in any group of people that are together often, maybe speak to each other often, share ideas often, like a family or a friend group or people who get together at a certain bar, or people on a certain sports team, or people in a church, any group like that shares ideas and stuff like that and spends time together is going to create some kind of culture among them. Like the people in this group say this and have this slang and act this way. But what makes it more difficult, and dare I say it's dangerous in a church, is dealing with faith and with knowing God and everything. There's a lot of right and wrong. There's a lot of like specific distinctions between what is right and what's wrong, and some things you're not going to be right about. Some things are just factually not right according to God. But in a church, it can be problematic if the culture suggests that certain things are concrete when they're not really, but it's just what everybody in the church is doing. Yeah. Because the church does not equal God. What the church says and mandates doesn't equal what God says and mandates all the time. Yeah. Because God is God, but the people in the church are just the people in church. And so, yeah, when the church is saying something that's absolutely facts, it's because they're saying something that God says, and we're just following his example. But, for example, if you go to a certain church where people in ministry can't have a beard, right? Then People in ministry can't have a beard. It's not like God was in heaven like,
no beards.
yeah. No, that's not what happened. And so, but in the church, if everybody hears that, and then they're hanging on the words of maybe a certain leader or something like that, then a new person comes into the church with a beard, and everybody's like, what's that on his face?
How dare he have a beard?
Yeah. And so, the Bible does say to work out your own salvation, but I know a lot of people twist that to what we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not salvation.
Right.
They're working out their own theology, but they ain't saved at all.
Right. And
you got to be very careful about that. It says work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And so, that's something you carefully, you think about it, it matters to you. It's not just what's most comfortable for you, but help me out here.
It's, sorry, say it one more time what you were saying. Working out your own salvation isn't necessarily making it easy mode or tailored towards you necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just in a church setting, even in that, you got to have your own kind of discernment. You can't be like a follower.
Right.
Or even more crucial than that, you can't just say, oh, well, if I do everything that so-and-so does,
right,
I'm doing what I'm supposed to. Like,
right,
no,
right.
Bro, it's not, it's your own salvation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know why you do what you do. You got to have your own understanding of what right and wrong is, your own understanding of what God's word is and what his will is.
So why is that? Why do you need to have your own understanding rather than just following everything somebody does because you really trust them? Because there's some trustworthy people in the church.
Because whether or not they're trustworthy or not, they're human, right, just the same way you are. And let's say, for example, somehow they get it twisted in some manner, shape, or form, but you and your, not your own salvation, you're like, oh, okay, well then they must know what they're talking about, or they must know.
Yeah.
For example, let's say, and this is just going to be random, this isn't real or anything, but let's say, you're following someone and they really, they love God, they're serving, whatever. And then they have this idea in their mind. They're like, church should be a time where you spend time with God in the light of the Lord.
Okay.
We shouldn't have any evening services. It's dark outside, right? And you're like, they really know, they've known what they're talking about in the past.
Example.
So
yeah,
maybe I'll hang out with that. That's a good idea. Like, bro,
okay, yeah.
What? No, bro, don't do that.
Yeah, I feel you. So wait though, like, imagine. I'm trying to think of a name that it's not a name of anybody we know.
Clydesdale.
No, Clyde.
Okay.
Right? Imagine Clyde. Man, Clyde is that guy in the church.
Shout out Clyde.
Let me tell you, he be showing up early.
With a K.
Setting up them chairs. When he sets up the chairs, he carries them 4 at a time because he's strong. When he's not in the church or at work, he's in the gym. Right?
Right.
And plus, his faith is real solid. Mm-hmm. He loves God. He loves his family. He's a good leader and everything, right?
Yeah.
But then you find out, but he says something that you don't think is necessarily true, right?
Yeah.
And he's living with a certain conviction, such as the don't come to church at night. We should be in the light, not lovers of darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you hear him say something like that, and you know that's not necessarily what the Bible says for you to do, or you're saved, you've worked out your own salvation, and you don't do that, is it right to be like, oh, my homies hate Clyde? Like,
no.
Or you go and tell everybody, yeah, I know you want to be like Clyde because he comes early, but I don't think you should come early because you know what else he said? Man, Clyde is tripping.
Right.
Clyde don't want you to come to church in the night.
Yeah, like you got to have your own common sense. Common sense? common Bible sense. You know?
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention that because there's sometimes where somebody will have they have a separate belief from yours, but not in a way that is fundamentally different. Like how Dad always says, when you get to heaven, God's not going to ask you what denomination you were,
Right.
only if you gave your heart to him or not. Right. But so there are some things that concretely mean you haven't given your heart to God, like sin.
Right.
You know, if you're still trying to live in sin, you can't argue that. There's no doctrine that you can argue, well, I know I'm still living in sin and I'm not doing anything about it, but God just loves me so much.
Right. You can't.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's some things, like maybe Clyde doesn't come to church in the night, but he's still living for God. He's still sharing the gospel. He's doing what he needs to do. And you guys are going to be together in heaven.
Yeah.
Therefore, you don't got to like rag on him. You can just respectfully disagree. You can be like, yo, Clyde is kind of weird, but he's you know what I'm saying? He's got some of his stuff together. You don't have to throw everything he does out the window, but it is important that you know what's going on, that you're not carried in a new direction every day by that new thing that everybody's saying and thinking. Like, you got to have a strong foundation, and you can't gain that by just following what other people do.
Yep. I don't remember what episode that was. I think it was 5. We talked about, keeping your convictions, but not ruining your relationships.
Right.
It's a similar concept to that. Another thing that just reminded me of, or made me think about, is like, let's say you have a friend that goes to a church and they have service Sunday morning and they have like Bible study Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then you have service Sunday morning and you have service Wednesday.
Right.
You can't be like, your church is messing up. You guys are supposed to have church on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, that's your church. That's not going to be everyone's church, and that's not going to be the cornerstone on their salvation necessarily.
Right.
I was going to say linchpin. I don't
Shout
like
out.
that
Never
word.
mind. You know who you are. We love you.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a listener. You're a real one, sir.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Don't. I knew it.
anyway, yeah, because so we, for the listeners, this is a good thing to think about. Like, me and Isaiah go to a church in a fellowship.
Yes.
Right. And
which
so
you will probably hear about or have heard already.
Yeah.
In one of our pastor's perspective episodes. It's pretty interesting. You should go find it and listen to it.
Yeah. That's episode 4.
No.
Oh, you talking about that other one?
That other one.
That other one.
Yes, sir.
All right. So anyway, the fellowship basically is just a bunch of churches around the world that are connected somehow, whether it be in doctrine and, just people that know each other. Yeah. They check in on each other's churches all the time. Just make sure everybody got a similar idea going.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But there will be people outside the fellowship.
Right.
That are also saved.
Precisely. Yeah.
And so you can't be like, oh, man, you don't go to our churches? You ain't the same,
You're
bro.
just not as saved as we are.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you ate a burger at Wendy's instead of McDonald's? That's not a burger. Yeah.
That's a beef sandwich.
That is so stupid, but it can be that way in churches, and so you got to be careful of certain aspects of the culture in your church. Like, you gotta, and I'm not saying that's the culture in our church, that they just hate on everybody that's not in the fellowship. But if that is something that comes up, you gotta make sure that you are considering things, that you're checking things between you and God, and your beliefs in what the Word of God says, because sometimes what your church is doing or saying might not be necessarily the most correct.
Yes, that is true. Kind of going back to what we were talking about in the beginning, I feel like some people want to be solo dolo Christians because they don't want to fit a stereotype.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Like they don't want to be a quote unquote church person, like whatever that might mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So what are some of the stereotypes you think, or why, what am I saying? Do we try to avoid stereotypes on purpose, or do we just go roll with it because that's just who we are or something?
There's a line. You got to be very, very meticulous regarding this part.
That's a word.
Because,
Sorry, guys.
For example, and some of you guys listening might not agree with this, and that is completely cool. We could talk about it. I probably still respect you depending on if I know you or not.
Yep.
And I'm not hating on you, and I hope you're not hating on me.
What is he about to say?
I know. This is a heavy disclaimer. I promise it's not that heavy of an issue. But so with events at school and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
People, I know a lot of people from school, and they will typically have like a bunch of stuff going on. And a lot of times I will have something that I'm already obligated or committed to going to that's with the church, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, Elijah, you should totally come to the
Bowling alley.
Right, to the bowling alley. We're gonna have so much fun bowling. And I don't doubt it. I don't hate bowling, and I'm not opposed to going to this bowling
Event.
fiesta, right?
Yes. Fiasco.
That's fiasco?
Yeah.
I was gonna say extravaganza or something. But anyway. But I have a church event going on that day.
Yeah.
Now there's some situations where I will be straight up like, nah, bro, I got Bible study. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who I'm talking to, depending on who I know.
Yeah.
But other circumstances, I would just say I can't go.
Why is that?
And it's because if there's somebody that I'm specifically working towards,
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe Bob, man, me and Bob are cool. You know, we do homework together and stuff. Maybe I can make some headway with him if our relationship is a little better, right?
Right.
Like if we get to know each other a little better, then he will open up. If I start talking about Christianity, he might think that Christianity ain't cool, but now that he knows me, he's like, oh, Elijah's cool. So, and he believes in Christianity, and well, maybe I should give it a little bit of ear, right? Because it's a way different thing if I just walk up to him and I'm like, the Lord said, and then he's going to look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
You might be.
There are some situations with people that I might be trying to, I'm working towards sharing my faith with them.
Mm-hmm.
That because I know what they think about it, I will try to get to know them first before I but
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I didn't elaborate enough on what I was saying just there, but I'm talking too much to have not gotten to what I'm trying to say yet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move on. I hope y'all are with me.
You're right. I get it. You're saying sometimes it's better to have the person know you.
Yeah.
And, to invite them to salvation or whatever, and not necessarily just, I don't know, try to look as though you're churchy to them or whatever,
right?
And make that work or something like.
For example,
go ahead.
This is a great example and a cool story, right?
Cool story, bro.
So when I was really little, first of all, my parents can really cook. We will touch on that later, especially my mom. Shout out to my mom. I think she is at least top 2 cooks that I know in my life.
She's number 1, bro.
Probably number 1.
Yeah.
She got just the range, the versatility.
Top 3. Never 3 or 2.
Yeah. Anyway, they don't play about seasoning, right? And so,
okay.
I promise we're getting somewhere with this. But whenever we would have an oven pizza, like it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno at the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
it would be seasoned up.
Except it's Red Baron. We got Red Baron.
Yeah, seasoned up and down, right?
Yeah.
And it'll come out the oven, and everybody's enjoying it. But when I was little, I was like, man, I didn't know. I didn't really know about that seasoning back then. And I was like, yo,
I remember this.
This just tastes like peppers and spices. Right? And
Peppers
so
and spices.
one day, I think I was like 4 or 5 or 6.
Or 7 or 8.
No, it was before. It was before
no.
Guyana said so. It was. I was little,
Mm-hmm.
but one time, my whole family, you guys, played a prank on me. Right? You made the oven pizza while I wasn't there and put it in the Papa John's box.
Yes.
I was
Yes, I
like, Papa
remember.
John's is cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Placebo. I ate that pizza. I love Papa John's. You guys flipped it on me. Flipped it completely. You were like, Elijah, you fool. You baboon. You, what's the word? Buffoon.
Buffoon.
Yeah. This was an oven pizza the whole time. I'm going, what? I'm thinking in my 6-year-old brain, this is impossible. The music starts playing, but I saw it. They opened the box. It had the garlic sauce. This is, but as I was open to Papa John's.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't open to the oven pizza, but because I thought it was Papa John's, I took me a bite.
Yeah.
Now I can't go back on oven pizza because I can't deny it was good.
Okay.
So somebody, right? Imagine they're raised in a certain culture with a certain family or whatever, or maybe they've had some experiences with certain churches and they've built up the mindset. Church is trash. God is not real.
Yep.
All the people who believe in God suck.
Wow.
Right? So they think they think Christians are whack because of their experience with them. That's understandable.
Okay.
I can't hate on them for it. And the worst thing to do, in my opinion, would be like, oh, your experience with Christians has been trash. So when I walk up to you with no type of tact or understanding, and I'm like, Jesus is Lord. Or, you know what I'm saying? And then they don't listen. Well, it's their fault. They go, no, I'm sorry. I tried.
I know.
I did my best.
I did my absolute bestest.
No, you should be willing to go the extra mile for these people because you care about them. Right? And so I'm going to show up with my fake Papa John's pizza because they say they love Papa John's. Right?
Yeah.
It's actually an oven pizza. So I'm going to show up with my quote unquote, no, it's not as fake as you guys did me with the Papa John's.
Right.
But basically, the Christianity was hidden at first because they think it's not cool. Mm-hmm. Then they have a taste. Right?
Sorry.
Right, of maybe the character that might come with somebody who believes in God, loves God, or just a
positive experience.
Yes, a positive. Thank you. And they're like, no way. I just had this positive experience with this caring and loving person, and they're a Christian. But I just whipped that out on them, like, hey, by the way, the whole time I was a Christian.
Got him.
By the way. What was that beep?
I don't know.
Is that going to show up?
No.
Okay, anyway, y'all won't hear it, but the whole time this was a oven pizza. You don't actually hate oven pizza. You don't actually hate Christianity. You just hated those experiences. But now look, and now this person is a little bit more open to receiving the gospel.
Right.
Now I know that was a long analogy, yes, but I thought the story was funny when it popped into my head, and so yeah, we
appreciate that.
Thank you, Isaiah, and the rest of you in the crowd for that applause.
Now, a question.
Uh-oh.
Close the door.
That's not a question, you idiot, you moron.
No,
I got you. What's the question?
No. Okay, here's the question. Say I'm somebody in the church. Well,
Uh-oh.
Okay, I am.
In what universe are you someone in the church?
I'm somebody else in the church. Got him.
No, that sounds like you're talking about a specific person.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I wouldn't say this.
Yeah.
So I'm someone else.
So you are
I'm
a person
Emmanuel
in the church
right now.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's say you're talking to Emmanuel,
What up, Manny?
and he says, "Hey, bro, I heard that you don't just tell people outright that you're a Christian. Isn't that a little bit just a little bit dangerous? Because I'm really using the soundboard, y'all. You are not being bold in your salvation. What do you say to that, Elijah?
First of all, that's real. A little bit, because it can be very difficult when you're trying to build a cool relationship with people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to tell them about your faith.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah,
but there does come a certain point where you cannot be scared to, because imagine you make all of the headway with this friend, right? You guys are cool. You're cool with each other. And then you're like, I don't know if I'm going to mess it up if I talk about my faith. I know he said he loves the pizza, but what is he going to do when he finds out it was never really Papa John's? You know?
This analogy is crazy.
Right? But you've got to take that step, because otherwise you just never told them about God. And that's just, it is what it is. That means that you wanted this relationship with this person. You wanted to be cool with them, and you got what you wanted, and you did nothing for them.
Yeah.
Right. But being bold is not the same as just
being belligerent.
Yeah. Belligerent is a great word. Mm-hmm. I think before, when we were discussing this, we talked about blockheaded.
Blockheadedness. Yeah. Yes.
Bold versus blockheaded. You can't be a blockhead. You can't just be like, I'm saved, so therefore I don't need to be intelligent. You will win nobody.
I know.
The only people you will win to God, if you can only appeal to people who are in a church, are people who are in a church. Like, somebody said after we went on outreach one time, I know we've explained what outreach is one time, but not everybody was there for that, I'm assuming. So outreach is when a bunch of people from the church go out on a set day, and you don't have to do this on this set day, but it's a day where everybody comes together to go out and witness to people, to tell people about God, right? Somebody said after an outreach, I'm aware that, like, they were talking to somebody and that person didn't want to go to church. And it's like, yeah, I know, I'm aware that you didn't want to go to church. If you were a quote unquote church person and you were just with all of that, you would be in church already. You'd be in church you would have a church that you go to. I'm talking to you because I believe that I got something you haven't really considered. I believe that you haven't really considered the real God, and you've only seen the church.
Yeah.
Right? Where am I going with this? I forgot.
You didn't. You're saying that sometimes instead of just trying to approach people like you can't approach everyone the same way and expect to get the same result.
Right.
And sometimes people will look at that and say, well, you're just not being bold. Yeah. Like, for example, if you go to someone and you say, hey, I want to invite you out to my Bible study. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But then they say no. And you're like, well, I tried. And you're like, well, and then let's say someone else goes and tries to evangelize to them. You're like, no, they're not interested. They're not open to it. I invited them to Bible study. They said no.
Yeah.
So, and it's not necessarily the case that's the case. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like someone else could say, hey, I heard you something or other, right? Like you said, I heard you say something about why does this happen if God really loves us? Or, you know, some question that you can answer, or something like, you know, anything really. Like, you know, I think you'll find that people are curious in a lot of situations about Christianity, or if they really aren't curious, it's because there's a reason for that.
Right. There's a bad experience of some kind.
Right. And so sometimes what you have to do is just be a good experience, not a good experience, a good example for them, and to be a beacon of light and whatnot.
That's facts.
And in a lot of cases, you know, you present to them, you know, a need to change, you know, or you present to them, you know, the life that they could be living, maybe. Like, you're not saying you could be living like this. Like, you're not
you could be like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
You're
need
not-
to anyway.
You're not being prideful about it, but
Yeah.
it's just, you're providing them an example.
Right, like, hey, you may have never thought about this, but look at this possible route that you could take that also happens to lead to heaven.
Right. Whereas if you're just, inviting people that you already know, like let's say you're trying to invite a friend of yours that goes to a different church and you say, hey, my church is having a this.
Yeah.
They'll probably say yes.
Right.
Because they're already in that mindset. They're already
Right.
a church goer or whatever.
Right. But if somebody doesn't say yes to the church event that you present because they don't even know what in the world it is,
right.
it doesn't mean that they're a super sinner. It's just like maybe you haven't really
Gotten to know them, or you haven't even, try to build a relationship with them. And I feel
Right.
like sometimes people feel as though being bold is, coming out the gate, guns blazing, talking about you need to get saved,
right.
and that's it.
Even
and I can't be your friend.
that phrase, you need to get saved. Like, I know I get it, you get it, people in church get it, but sometimes you got to phrase it a little different because somebody else isn't going to get it.
Yeah, like I need to get saved. What, am
Get
I in
saved?
danger? What's happening?
Yeah. Do I need a coupon?
Save on your. You
Anyway,
can save 15% or more on car insurance. Sorry. Thank you guys. Thank you for all that laughter. I appreciate that.
man, who are those people, by the way, that are laughing in our headphones?
All right. Moving on.
But yeah, and I don't know it the verse word for word, but if you guys want to fact check me in the Bible, feel free to do it because I know this is facts,
Yes.
right? So when Jesus had a conversation with somebody, he was like, I didn't come to, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know it word for word, but again, you can check me. I ain't come to the earth to hang out with religious people or saved people.
Yeah.
I came to save sinners.
Right.
I came to lead people to the Father. And so that's why I'm up in, I know people will be like, oh, why did you go hang out with so-and-so? And Jesus was up in tax collectors' houses having dinner like, hey,
Zacchaeus.
yeah, do you know the Father? You know what I'm saying? They having conversation, getting turning to people to God. Turning people to God
Yes.
because they weren't already turned to God.
Right.
And so I know there's somewhere else in the Bible where it says people like who are in sexual immorality or people who are doing certain things like to not even associate with these people. But that if you go and read those parts, it's talking about within the church.
Right.
Because these people are saying that they're Christians, they're saying that they're saved already, and they're trying to perpetuate this lifestyle of sin. It's not talking about people outside of who have not heard the truth, who don't know it for themselves, who are living in sin. Obviously, at some point, you got to interact with them because that's the whole world.
Yeah.
Who are you going to lead to salvation if the only people you talk to are saved?
Yeah. Exactly. It's a
And
fact.
another Bible thing. One of the apostles, I believe it's Paul, says, to the world I became all things that by all means I might save some.
Yeah.
And so he said, like, to the weak I became weak, to the this I became this, right? He's and so what he was doing was
Being relatable. He
Being-
was relating
yes.
to the people that he's talking to because that's how people work.
right, and it's not intentionally. Like, there are people who are, I mean, it is intentionally. It's not by accident. These aren't the people who he would just already relate to.
Yeah.
But he would delve into some of the interests and some of the characteristics of people so that he could relate to them and then share the gospel with them.
Yeah. From a better perspective, from
Right.
an understanding perspective, instead of just an outsider
Right.
coming in and try to say, do what I do.
Right. Basically, he's learning to speak their language so he
Yeah.
can properly communicate what he's trying to say. That
Right.
being said, the Bible does say to be set apart from the world, right? We're in the world, but not of it.
Right.
But what that's speaking about is that there are certain lines that you don't cross in becoming all things that you might save some. Like if my buddy is a crack smoker, right? I want him to get saved. I want him to get saved so bad.
Right.
Right. And so maybe he likes Spider-Man, and he always goes to see the Spider-Man movies, right? I could go to see the Spider-Man movies with him. I'm not going to smoke crack with him.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's just not okay. Those things are going against God.
Preach that. Don't smoke crack.
Hopefully, right? But so there are things that you might align with somebody else just so you can relate with them without crossing boundaries, because I think some people would use the same argument or use the same verses, like, for example, Jesus dining with tax collectors, to explain why
they at the club and in Hooters having a ball.
Well, why was I in Hooters? Why was I at the club?
You have to relate with the people.
Come on, I was there to preach to them. I swear.
If they were weak, then I side with weak.
Yeah.
If they're horny, I side with like no, that's not how that works.
No.
So people, bro, that goes back to the beginning. People be trying to find reasons to do what they want to do.
Dangerous.
On their own, yes, sir. Incredibly dangerous.
Just be hot or be cold at that point. Like, you don't gotta. If you want to live in sin, do it.
Yep.
I guess.
I gotta find that verse. If you lukewarm, you getting vomited.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think the term that we have in our notes for that is being holier than thou. Not for what we were talking about before, but for like when you take what God says as set apart and apply it to better than, which isn't what that means.
Yeah.
And that's in episode 5, all over it. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, go back to that episode. But yeah, you cannot relate to people and think you're better than them at the same time.
Right.
It's impossible.
And this is for free, but there will be certain situations maybe where you know somebody's not saved and they might be attacking your character or attacking you morally. When you get mad at them, because it happens, do not be saying something like, well, that's why you're going to hell. Or anything like that. If you end up using your Christianity as a weapon to win an argument because your pride is involved, that person that you're talking to might never want to come to Christ again, because they're like, okay, so this is how Christians act.
Yeah.
So Christianity is the excuse that people use to say they're better than me.
Right.
Okay, well, I don't want anything to do with that. And then they end up actually going to hell because you were mad.
Yeah.
And that's no. So be careful when you're dealing with emotions, when you're dealing with people who are against you, even if they wrong you first. You do not bring your Christianity into your argument with them, because a lot of times it's just twisting it to what will benefit you in that argument.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it for the first half, pretty much. We can recap real quick for everyone.
I know you guys love the recap.
At the beginning, we talked about how being a solo Christian, you can do it, but you should probably be in a church because you can get more, experience. You can have more people's inputs, more people reading different things than you are and providing insight. But also, when you're in a church, it's important that you have your own. Go ahead, Elijah. Let's finish this.
You have your own relationship with God, understanding of who God is, so that if you hear something that might not be accurate, you know the accurate way to go.
Right.
Now, that being said, you should still be able to relate with these people in the church that may have a different perspective on one thing that isn't fundamentally wrong, and treat them with respect.
Right. And
be sociable with them if it's possible. Live in peace with them if it's possible.
Yeah. And that extends even outside of the church. Just, you have to be able to relate to everyone, because those are the people that we want to make it to heaven, because those are the people that don't know. Right. It doesn't make sense to have your salvation be like a little friend group. Yeah. Or have it be like a club that you're not invited to unless you fit our criteria. That's not how that works.
And some people might say, oh, I'm saved and I'm going to heaven, so you can't say there's anything wrong with that. But you might, there are people that you care about that won't join you in heaven because you never witnessed to them because of that mindset. Exactly. And so, definitely don't relate to them in sin, because sin is wrong.
Right, of course.
But relate to them in the safe ways that you can to bring them closer to God.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. We're going to go into Part 2, the second half.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
2.
All right. So when we did the notes for this second part, it was before the fast.
Yes.
It is now a
Wait,
fast.
what is a fast?
Fasting is when you're not eating.
Why?
Well, technically, that's it. For us, fasting has to do with praying and doing it for God, a sacrifice of oneself, denying your flesh, whatever. But people also fast. They call it intermittent fasting or whatever, just for weight loss and whatnot. So that's
I
why
call that tripping.
no, it's fasting.
If you're
So-
listening and you're an American, be fat. Facts. Anyway. I'm just joking, but
all right. So
so
today, our second half topic is nothing too crazy, nothing too serious. Well,
it was pretty
unless
pretty
you take it serious. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. And that is delicious food. Delicious food.
Yes.
And maybe not so delicious food.
Yes.
In particular, those who have been privileged and blessed to have home cooked meals like us T-Heroes, and those who had to get it out the mud.
At the
Get
mud.
it out the mud.
The mud.
Get it out the all right.
Anyway.
And I guess really what I want to talk about is how my life has been made so much worse
Oh,
as a result
what?
of having great food at home. Let me explain.
Please explain.
Let's say I want to go out to eat. I want to have some delicious food.
Yeah.
I want to have a tasty experience.
Right.
I want a good meal.
Okay.
I can't. Because everything that I eat is like, this is worse than what mom would make.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And it's not, I don't even think it's like an opinion thing. Because, like, for example, there are people who've eaten mom's cooking many times who haven't lived with us forever.
Mm-hmm.
They know a bunch of other people and gone to nice restaurants and whatever and be like, nah, man, your mom's food is a little better. So for real, mom is a life ruiner.
Yeah. I can't enjoy simple things. Let's say, oh, it's my anniversary. I'm with my future wife.
Yeah.
She's like, let's go out to eat. I'm like,
Yeah. So what's weird is, and our parents are super busy.
Yeah.
You know, they don't go out together super often. But when they do, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go to such and such a place. We're going to go to the Indian place down around the corner. We're going to go to whatever, right?
Yeah.
They have their nice night together.
Indian food can hold its own.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
But they sit across from each other, you know. I don't know what they be doing because I'm not invited, obviously. It's a 2-person date.
Yep.
And they come home. I'm like, of course, what I want to know, how's the food? It was okay. It was okay. Are you serious? Is the food never better? I'm super loud. My bad. Is the food never better than what we have at home like that? Bro, you could be so good at something, you create a desolate existence.
I know. It's like if you were like a hairstylist or a hairstylist, your mom braids your hair and does your hair and all that. And then you get older and you move away and now you're going to a salon and they jack your hair up.
Yeah.
Got you looking like who looks bad?
Dang. I'm thinking of real people.
No.
I'm thinking of
No.
characters.
I can't think of anyone. Whatever.
Mowgli.
Looking like Sideshow Bob. But yeah, that's what happens when you get privileged with that. I'm at home getting my hair done by someone who's good at it.
Yeah. I thought about that. I was thinking about that. I think I was talking to Jeremiah the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, if I have daughters, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be black. No racial, but I'm black.
Right. Obviously. Facts.
And they, bro, how am I supposed to do hair?
You not, bro.
How?
Go ask your wife.
For real, or I'm going to be YouTubing it all day. Because that is so complex. That's like a lot.
Yeah,
Braiding and splitting
and
and
puffs, bro.
For real. They're gonna be my daughters will have afros.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my daughters that I don't have.
Hallelujah. Okay.
The Spirit of the Lord is. Sorry, my bad. But anyway,
back
was
to
a little
the original topic: food. The reason that this has been brought to the forefront of our minds is a recent experience. As you know, we had our little Christmas break for the podcast. I'm sure you guys enjoyed your holiday and whatever.
Hopefully you did.
But
if
we
you didn't,
also what?
Oh, I was saying, hopefully you did enjoy your holiday. If you didn't, I hope it gets better for you. Sincerely.
Yeah. Pray to the Lord.
Thanks. Anyway.
But now, while we were on our Christmas break, we went up to DC, which is where a lot of our family, pretty much all of them, live.
Yeah.
And we went out to a nice restaurant.
Super duper nice.
Super duper nice. And by some means, somehow, it was on the house.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm like, okay, it's on the house. Let's get something
crazy.
Cool. Yeah, let's get something a little exotic.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought you were saying exciting in a country accent. Like, exciting.
No.
Anyway.
Exotic.
Yeah.
So what I decided to get was something called a lobster roll, which is a lobster sandwich.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep in mind, neither of us have ever had lobster before, right?
Never.
I also got the same thing. I was about to get something else.
Yes.
And then I was like, maybe I should try this lobster roll. Continue.
Ooh, exciting. $50 in price for a lobster roll.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's kind of expensive. But
it's on the house.
It's lobster. Oh, and
yeah, okay.
I got to try lobster.
Yeah.
I've never had it before. So I go. I'm like, ooh, this $50 lobster roll is about to be banging. It's about to be busting. It's about to be delicious.
Yes.
I took a bite. Disappointment.
Oh my God.
It was, I could, okay. I was looking around.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Elijah with a frown on my face. Like, what is this?
Right.
Lobster roll. This is unseasoned fish meat.
So then, of course, you got to be careful. Like, even if, because I know some of y'all might be listening. Maybe you don't got parents, or maybe you don't got parents who can cook, right? But maybe sometimes those parents who can't really cook be going the extra mile to try to make you a little something, right?
Yeah.
In that situation, or in this situation like we're talking about where we got to eat at a fancy place for free, you still got to express a little gratitude, right?
Of course.
That's a hard road to walk when it sucks. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But that's real, because it's a worse taste than food is disrespect. Facts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I took a bite into it. I was like, man, I've never had lobster. This is fine dining.
Yeah.
I remember I asked Isaiah the words, why does it taste like nothing? I didn't say they're super loud. I did not say it's super loud, but I thought I was tripping.
Yeah.
I thought maybe something was wrong with it. And especially because they had given us these wings before.
Yes. So we have
delicious.
to talk about this. They brought out appetizers.
Right.
Right. So we had calamari, chicken wings, seaweed salad, and bread. And
the bread was good too.
The bread was good too. But
yeah.
I'm saying all of those things were like setting me up for the most amazing experience.
Right.
Because the appetizers were good. They were so good. I was like, eating them wings.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that seaweed salad. You know what I mean?
Bro, so our grandmother, right?
Yeah, Nana.
My mom's mom. She's like a super health person. or with her dieting. She don't play about nothing.
Not a thing.
So everybody's ordering these cool appetizers. Of course, she orders a seaweed salad.
Right.
It was so good.
It really was.
It was seasoned so nice. I was like, this seaweed salad ain't so bad.
It was pretty good.
So
imagine our disappointment when we take a bite into this lobster roll and it tastes like nada.
Yeah.
Nothing. How?
It's like something is wrong here.
Right. That's
right. Disappointment a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a cool little experience, but I was like, man, we should have just came here with some food from home. It would have been.
Or just ordered a bunch of wings.
Facts.
Ordering appetizers.
Yeah.
Because, calamari was pretty good too. Tentacly, which is weird, but, you know.
I had a similar experience earlier this year. We were in Ohio for an Impact team.
Okay.
And we ate at this other super restaurant. Now, these are probably the only 2 super restaurants I've ever been to in my life.
Right.
I don't want to go back.
It wasn't on the house this time.
No, it wasn't. I was like, look, y'all. I remember Dad was like, just order something. Don't worry about it. I was like, you fool. So, of course, I got some with a cool.
We don't talk
price.
to our dad like that, by the way.
Yeah, no, unless
never.
I was gonna say unless you want to move out, but anyway, so it's a super place and it's super decorative and everything is like seafood themed. And I remember I was like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore when they bring out some crocodile bites. Right?
Crocodile bites.
So first of all, they're handing out these crocodile bites, and then this one girl, lady, woman, I was gonna say this one girl, but she is grown, that was with us on the Impact team. I think she's listening right now. You know who you are. She's like, yeah, I don't really care for the crocodile bites. I was like, where in your life have you had crocodile before? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, she did her. I got extra crocodile bites. They were kind of good. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of tasted like weird chicken.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, we get the main courses and they were pretty good. It was not as disappointing as that lobster roll. That lobster roll was like, what are you doing?
Right.
Right. And it was pretty good. I was like, that was some good food. I've still eaten better at home.
Really?
And I mean, like, better at home.
Way
consistently.
Better.
I don't know what
it is, man.
Mom be putting crack in the food.
Or something. But you know what it is? Think about this. Think about when we would go eat in Guyana.
Yeah.
It was always good. It was always like, delicious.
Yeah.
Always. Cook up. Chicken curry. You understand?
Yes.
Except dal. Yuck. But, you know, well, I mean, you don't cook that, but delicious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Food was always super good.
What is the issue here?
Maybe I think it might be a culture thing.
Maybe.
Because I remember seeing a bunch of people in that restaurant in DC who were like so pretentious. It's just like, oh, yes, I'm here eating my food. I come here twice a week. I'm balling.
Yeah, that's a DC though.
Yeah. And the food wasn't that good, but it might not have been about the food. It might have been like
being on the beat.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Never mind. I was gonna plug the song.
No.
Never mind. Anyway, guys, sometimes you be going to find Christian music and you find some very funny things.
Yeah.
If you got some talents, I think we said this in episode 2.
Yes,
make some Christian music, bro. We need it. I was just talking to Isaiah about how I'm trying to lean off of music that has crazy content because I don't want that to be in my head all the time. You know what I'm saying? Walk around saying crazy stuff.
Yeah. And
then I try to listen to, like, for example, bro, you go on Reach Records. Oh. They got 1K Feud. That dude is whack.
I'm sipping on lean. You know what I mean?
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Two of the craziest things you'll ever see.
Literally, one of this dude's lines, he says something about Jesus being on the cross. He had holes in his feet like Crocs. He ain't even have no socks. That was so trash.
My goodness.
I would rather listen to Cookie Monster. But anyway, please make some Christian music. That's for free. So what the heck was I saying? Oh, I think it wasn't about the food.
Yeah.
To some of these people, it was about the essence, the ingredients.
Yeah.
It's like,
or what's in it.
We got this is actually made out of monkey feet. And you can't get that anywhere else.
You can't just get monkey feet.
This is parrot meat, not chicken.
This is lobster.
Yeah.
You've never had lobster
Right.
like this, covered in light mayo,
Yeah.
with a side of French fries and coleslaw from Vietnam or something.
Served chilled on a platter.
Yes. I have to mention this. The sandwich was cold.
Yeah.
I thought this would be like a cool thing because like sushi, you eat it cold.
Right.
No. It was just a cold lobster sandwich with no flavor.
Yeah. It's true. It came as a shock a little bit.
I knew it was going to be cold,
Yeah.
but I didn't know it was going to be nasty.
Cold? Yeah. I feel you. I think so. In Guyana, a lot of the times we ate, it would be at people's houses or somebody's like home local restaurant thing. And they worried about that food.
Yeah, they worried about it tasting good.
Yes. And that's how it should be. If you want to cook food, listen, the people at that place, that restaurant we went to, they could plate food like no one I've ever seen. I was looking at these plates like, oh, it's Food Network time, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to those of you who watch Food Network. It's the only good thing on TV, right?
With a little sauce splash on the side.
The smear of sauce.
with the little dessert in the middle or whatever.
With the
It's like,
sprinkles of different kinds of like nuts and stuff all around it.
yeah. But once you get to eating it, it's not going to look like that.
Yeah.
And if it don't taste good, you're going to be disappointed. You're not going to be like, but it looked nice.
Right. If you're learning to cook, if you're aiming to learn to cook, don't take a food decorating class, bro.
Nah.
Take a food cooking very good class.
Yes, sir.
Especially if that class teaches you how to make foods from different cultures.
Yeah.
Because it's going all around the world and telling you what's good.
Yes. And if you can't cook and you're listening, learn how to cook. That's it.
Yeah.
Like Elijah, he can't cook.
No.
He needs to learn. I can cook a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm,
I can follow like an
Food can be
okay
delicious.
recipe. Like one time, the only time I ever cooked dinner for the family at home, I made some fish.
Yeah.
And just in the pan, they're pan seared. There was a lot of seasoning. I was like, dang,
Mm-hmm.
this is taking a long time. And I just made some rice. Boom. Threw it all together. Right. It was pretty good.
Right.
Now, I directly followed a YouTube video,
Mhm.
and then mom was walking through the kitchen, and I just asked her for a suggestion. She said, throw some of this in there. She just knows her stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And it was delicious. I won't lie.
Yeah.
So
You gotta get those tips, man. You gotta learn.
Yeah.
If you're cooking, use fresh ingredients. If you need garlic in something, go buy garlic.
yeah.
Don't get garlic powder necessarily all the
Mm,
time. If you need onions, get onions. Don't get onion powder. If you need, ginger, go get ginger root. Don't
Right.
get ginger powder. I don't even know if they make that.
They probably
Just invest into your food and it will taste delicious. This should be in the Bible.
oh my God.
No, I'm playing.
No,
Preach a sermon on cooking.
hey, it might
Cook.
be able to slide, but no, it won't. But yeah, because the thing is, if you can't really cook that well, right?
Right.
Like, let's say I was to move out right now,
Mm-hmm.
my options are to YouTube it every time so I can learn and get a little better, ask people for help, get practice,
Yes.
right?
Which is good.
Or make bad food,
Mm-hmm.
which would then lead me to be like, bro, I am not cooking.
Yes.
I'm going out.
And then eating lobster roll.
Or eating something that seems a little bit more affordable, like I get McDonald's every day. You need 3 meals a day. Let's say I only get McDonald's for 2 of the meals, right? It's much more expensive at this point than cooking good food at home.
Yeah, it really is. It's cheaper to cook at home than to eat out. That's just a fact. And if it tastes better, just learn how to cook.
yeah. And not that that's a super duper easy thing to do, but
You follow the recipe.
yes, but you need to find good recipes though.
Yeah.
My mom, who is the cooking genius, has
For real.
made some recipes and put it on the table and was like, y'all, I ain't doing this recipe again. Because the person's recipe was just boo-boo.
Yeah.
Now, the
I've
food was
also
never
seen-
like detestable, but
I've also seen mom go find a recipe,
yeah.
follow the recipe, and then say, no, they did it wrong.
Yeah.
They need to do this.
Come on.
And then
y'all.
fix it.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all.
Does it get better than that?
Maybe you can't learn how to do that. Maybe.
If you're on here and you're single, bro, or sis, and you're like young 20s or whatever, however old you are, bro, start looking for somebody who can cook.
Or start learning.
Or start learning. Or do both.
Both.
Because your household that you build
will be built on deliciousness.
Oh my gosh, your kids will never forget.
Ever.
They can't be disrespectful to you. No. You know why? You could be like, all right, I'm not cooking.
Dang.
All right. You can eat Sam's food from across the street.
Dang.
Go ahead, eat with Sam. You'll be like, I don't want to eat with Sam.
Imagine this. Imagine you driving home and you talking to your kids and they're like, Mom, can we get McDonald's? And they say, we don't need McDonald's. We got food at home.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh no,
right.
Food at home.
Exactly. And man, it helps your identity. It helps your case. Because look, man, when you know somebody can cook, that just adds to it. It's like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because people who can't cook might present some food and it's whack and they don't know it's whack. They're like not even aware.
They're like, this is bomb.
Yeah. And then that's an awkward look. I'm like, I can't trust
it hurts your testimony.
For real? No.
It's like, I don't know if I can trust you anymore on food.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes people just have a disparity. They make really good something and then they don't make as good something else. So I'm like, I could never know what to expect from you.
Right.
But Mom, bro.
Just consistent. I'm grateful for my mother. I think we said this. Yeah. Thank you. I think we said this in another episode before.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about Dad enough.
Because he's on the pod.
Yeah. He can cook too, though, but just not like my mom. He can cook a little bit, though. He makes some mean spaghetti.
Yep.
Making some mean steaks.
He makes great. He said that when we went to that restaurant, the lobster roll, he got a steak and he said his steak was whack.
Yeah.
And I've had his steak where he makes it and it's good.
Oh, yeah. When he be doing them strips, he just throw it in the pan and then do the little leaf thing and then yes. That's the thing though. He don't typically make them formal meals.
Stuff. Yeah. He just be making food to eat. He don't be making meals.
Yeah.
Are you hungry? All right. And he cook it and then we eat it off the pan.
Right.
But it's delicious.
But yeah, definitely being able to cook, it is essential to like making a home. It ain't
no.
I'm
not gonna say that.
Okay.
Because you can have a great home environment. I'm sure some of you who are listening have a great home environment, and maybe you can't necessarily cook the best. That's not important.
Okay, yeah.
But if you want to upgrade, learn how to cook.
There's people where like they will not come to and they talk about this in church all the time. This is the biggest running joke. Where they won't come to a Bible study or they won't come to a fellowship or whatever because it sounds lame. They're like, oh gosh, what are those doggone Christians doing again?
Yeah, having a Bible study.
Right. They're going to be like, do you know Jesus? And I'm going to be all like, oh gosh, I'm not going. Right. But there's free food. Everybody's bringing free food. Oh,
I'll be there.
Right. Game changer. And then they go and the food is good. They're coming back.
Yes, sir.
If they go and the food is bad. It's a whole different story.
It's over.
You better hope you got a great personality and, bro, the most hopeful message because you've lost them.
Oh my gosh.
I need to learn how to cook some more. Even just after hearing myself say this stuff, I know it's facts. So I need to cook before it's too late.
Yeah.
I'm about to be 18 in a year and 2 months.
Yeah.
That's not that long. But it's kind of long. I don't know.
It's long enough to learn how to cook.
Yeah. I can't be a grown man with no cooking skills, bro.
Nah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. But all right. I think that's going to do it for the episode. Moral of the story, everything that you heard in the first half, we did the recap. Pretty important, but learn how to cook. Probably more important.
Oh my God.
But still, I mean.
It really might help your ministry. Ooh, Okay, I know this is a Frontline Youth podcast, right?
Yes, it is.
So a while back, we had an announcement that the food will no longer be provided at the Fly meetings by the same people.
Yes.
Because they are the only ones who have been providing food, and that is heavy on the pocket and on the time.
Yes, and on the mind if people are complaining about free food.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to whichever episode we talked about that.
I don't know if we talked about that in an episode, but if we did.
We did.
Disparaging comments were made, I think. Anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, so for those of you who are maybe a part of Frontline Youth, I'm not talking to those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about. Still love you. Super glad you're listening. But to those who are members of Frontline Youth, bro, learn how to cook. Taste test your food before you show up. And everybody's like, this is good. It doesn't taste like despair at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that being said, if you come and provide some food, you're a real one. Regardless.
Hallelujah!
Okay, but yeah, now, wait, secret word.
Yeah. Lobster.
Nah, that's going to be too obvious.
What's the secret word? We don't put this in our notes, y'all. We should.
Nah, it's special to come up with it. I think it makes it a little special. You know, to the listener right now, I see that smile on your face because you're waiting on that secret word. It's not the same if it's scripted. It's between me and you and Isaiah, I guess. You know?
I'm here.
No, I'm just kidding. But secret word for real.
Light bulb.
It's too obvious.
How about too obvious?
Thinly sliced.
Thinly sliced?
No, just thinly.
Thinly?
Yes.
Good luck, y'all. The secret word is thinly.
And look, ooh, y'all better be commenting, right? If you have a favorite recipe, drop it in the comments. Even if it's bad, I will not roast you.
Yes.
I will not.
Maybe we'll put some tips. We'll ask mom, hey, mom, what do you think about this recipe?
Right.
And she'll be like looking through it, Control F, salt. It's not there.
Yeah.
She'll help you out.
Right. You guys need to definitely be commenting because you make the podcast. Otherwise, it's just some audio.
Yeah, precisely. Episode 6 has barely any comments.
Yeah.
And it feels weird. I go back to look at them. I'm like, maybe they're late.
Yeah.
They're not there.
Please comment, share. We want to hear from you. It's not like we finish recording and we're like, oh, I hate that podcast and I hate everyone who listens to it. Like, no, please come back.
We need you.
We miss you. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. I guess we can ask real quick. Put in the comments what you think about the soundboard.
Yeah.
Just in case you guys hate it. But I really like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a blast. Those are some new ones. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
All right, bye-bye.